Hey there, Kevin here. I'm joined with Yop and Shogun, and today we thought we'd jump on real quick to talk a little bit about how we approach the Brackeys Game Jam that we decided to take part of this time around. So we thought we'd just come on real quick and show you how we started off and some of the progress that we've made, and you can kind of get an idea of the thought process behind how we approach this jam. Now, this is by no means the perfect way, the right way. It's just our way and what we did. So what is up, Yop? What is up, Shogun? How you guys doing?
Doing all right. Getting a little tired. Been doing maybe a few too many late nights this week on the game jam.
Yeah, it's been like a 16-hour days for me this week, so I'm feeling it a little bit, but super pumped. We've made some good progress. So I think what's really cool about this is that initially myself and Yop jumped on a call, much like this, and I opened up a notebook, and then we started throwing some ideas around. So I guess it's worth mentioning that the theme of this jam is nothing can go wrong, and that was the starting point. Very classic, traditional theme for a jam. Open to interpretation. So they're wide open, as the best ones are, to really get your creative juices flowing and to test you and learn new stuff and all the fun that jams have. Of course, if you're not familiar, this jam is a 1 week long jam. So there is an opening date, which was the previous Sunday, and it will close, I'm assuming, late Sunday night.
It's at least Sunday noon.
Yeah, it was 1 o'clock our time here in Finland.
Yep.
Okay.
On Sunday.
Right. Perfect.
All right. So.
Oh boy. Okay. Right. So let's just. So what you can see on the screen is the notepad book screen sheet that I and Yop went through. We threw a bunch of ideas on the table. Some of them were quite good, actually. But Shogun came in and swooped in and stole the day with a space rocket simulator-esque type idea, which seemed to tick a lot of the boxes. So how did you come up with that idea, Shogun?
So when we got the theme reveal on Sunday of Nothing Can Go Wrong, I immediately just started thinking of what are situations where nothing can go wrong. And the very first one I thought of was a rocket launch. Like, if something goes wrong on the rocket launch, bad things happen.
Sure.
And so I immediately kind of started thinking on that. And I did kind of throw around a few other ideas. And I'll be honest, I almost didn't even pitch this idea to you guys because I knew it was going to be a lot to build in 1 week.
Yeah, scope is always an issue, and as much experience as we all have individually and collectively, we always overscope because that is the nature of it, and that's okay. But at some point, there will come a critical point where you literally have to say, right, this is the way we're going to go to try and get that playable demo together. Right. It's interesting that you went that way because I kind of went the other way in terms of. Not what could go wrong, but like everything's going wrong. So I kind of went the opposite, which I think is kind of an interesting way. But by far, the rocket is a solid idea. Now we need to start to plan the project. And obviously within a team, we needed a central document. So we use Google Docs, free, all the rest of it, very easy. And we just started writing down. And what you're seeing now is kind of had a few comments to it, but mostly it is a loose game design document plan. And it's really important to mention here, don't overthink this. Don't write everything down. Don't spend 3 days planning. You don't have time. Write all your ideas down and just keep looking at them. And you will miss some. You will skip some. What was a good idea to start with might not become something that you want to include. And of course, by putting all these ideas down and looking at them and thinking about them more, it's really good to either rule them in or rule them out. And of course, as you build games with any games, regardless of a game jam, the project typically takes a life of itself. And as you start building, you think, oh, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And that's okay too. But yeah, so let's go through some of the steps. I've done a lot of talking. Someone else can have a go. Why don't you talk us through a little bit about the overall game idea here?
Yeah. So originally, like we were planning that there would be multiple tasks you need to do each day for the rocket launch, and we started writing them down in the document. We split it into 5 days originally, but now that we are running out of time, I think we are kind of dropping some of those ideas. For example, we probably won't have the day system at all. Maybe it will be just a bunch of tasks around the level that you need to complete. There were some super interesting ideas that like we came up with, and like astronaut training, we thought that that would be interesting mini game where you might have maybe play even as one of the astronauts. But due to time constraint, we ended up changing that to be like you select the crew and try to balance their stats. Day 2 is about like choosing proper day for the launch. Different weather forecasts are shown in the different like calendar type of thing, and you select one. We obviously don't have that in at the moment. It sounds interesting, so if we have time, we might add that, but that might also be one of the things we drop. And each of these missions, because nothing can go wrong, if something goes wrong in one of those missions, the rocket launch fails somehow. And we had different fail conditions. For example, the day of the weather, if it's bad weather, maybe the lightning will strike the rocket and it will explode. Or if you select bad crew, they'll do something stupid and the flight fails. Yeah, at the moment we have only the two of the things. We have the crew selection and rocket fuel mixing. The rocket fuel mixing is on the right side of the mission control, and on the left there is the.
Was it? Where did I totally miss it?
Yeah,
It's
the
down the
elevator.
elevator.
Yeah, I moved the character down there.
Is it?
Not
No,
that,
it's not here.
on the right.
I just.
Yeah, so I think
yeah.
as go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, the crew selection is also like simplified and done.
Yeah, so it's like at the point where, like, again, as we spoke about overscoping everything, that's typically normal, and then we'll just cut bits and try and polish up the bits that we do have. I think
For
it's
that,
worth.
that John's walking past now. I think we had a plan for day 3, was it, or wait,
Yeah, I
day
can't quite
yeah,
remember
there's some of the
actually. If
day
I'm
that you
honest.
need to take the rocket from the place to this launch place.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But yeah, there we have NPC, and then we have these 3 mini game prompts. I'll probably make it so that it will automatically prompt that thing instead of you needing to press the button, and when you leave the area, it will hide it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still work in progress with these the artwork, and I think it might be a good time to explore exactly how we've divvied up the tasks here as well. Because obviously I have no idea when it comes to creating the actual logic here. So I've got the 2 legends of the editor, so it makes more sense for these guys to make it all do all the smart stuff and the clever stuff, and I just do all the coloring in here. So Shogun has been mostly working on the rocket side of things, getting the end
That's
game.
really cool.
Yeah, and I'm like super pumped to like start pressing the buttons on that. And Yop is looking after the sort of mini games and the game control systems in terms of player control, cameras, all of that kind of good stuff. And I've just been building the environment to run around in. So yeah, I think it's kind of fun actually. It's been fun for me to do it. Obviously, these guys get all the headaches doing all the code.
Need to fix it.
Yeah, but yeah, as you can see, we're in a state of we got a couple, I guess, one more full day to work on this from Saturday. But yeah, it's kind of been good. So we have still got some things to talk about, which we will be jumping on after this. But How have you managed? Have you? Is there anything that you both, either of you, this is to? Is there anything that you've really wanted to do so far that you didn't have time to do, or you think is worth spending another day on rather than expanding on what we already have here?
I would just finish the game so that we have the fail states in.
Right.
That would be like the main thing is to get the like
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, I would say for me, the rocket has taken a lot longer than I anticipated. I was like 1-2 days max. It's going to take me to build this rocket launch and then all the fail states. But I'm still working on it, and I really kind of have the successful launch is kind of working, but the fail states are not really working yet, and I'm having some headaches with it. But it's also, like you said, it's been a lot of fun. I've really had a lot of fun doing it, especially when part of it is just like over and over again exploding a rocket.
Yeah, that does sound pretty good fun. I mean, from my point of view, I've had a bunch of fun because I don't get much chance to jump into the editor and build stuff as much as I like. So for me, it's been super fun. This is why game jams are so good, because like none of us have any expectations. We're just having fun and doing some stuff that we wouldn't normally do typically, and like there's no pressure, and it doesn't matter. We're just here to have a good time, and that's what is often when we get involved. Yeah, let's show some interesting stuff. So yeah, often when we get involved in projects, especially on a professional basis or even like personal, like serious personal projects, it can get a bit stressful, and that can often suck the life out of your passion when you're building games, and it gets really grindy and really horrible. But these jams are just a good opportunity to experiment. This is so cool.
That's nice.
It's really smart.
It's
I
going to
was kind of
explode on the
triggered.
next stage.
I was triggered because I couldn't press the detach button on stage 4. When I like, oh, look at that.
It's
How
only
cool is
kind
that?
of like half exploding, but
Right.
the
Are we going to
problem
have
I'm having right
parachute?
now is that it's going too fast, so that when it explodes, like all the explosion quickly goes off screen. So I need to slow the
Uh,
rocket down so that when it
could
explodes,
you do
I get to
a
enjoy
could you
that a
do
little
a
bit more.
slow motion cam on that?
Well, no, because it's just that the rocket is moving too quickly, right? So even if
I
it's
see. I
slow,
got you.
it's still gonna everything's gonna happen slow.
Okay. That's literally the first time I've seen that explode. So that was really cool. I love the fact it all falls on the ground like that. That's
Yeah,
really
that's what I
nice.
was working on last night till like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. Okay.
Like
Yeah.
you can come over here and you can, if I turn on, so like there's my like broken piece. So essentially, like when one of the sections fails, it's just destroyed and replaced with this broken piece. There's like some explosion, and that's another thing too. Is this broken piece, because it's being spawned in, has no momentum, and the rocket has a ton of momentum. So
I
that's
see.
also why I need to kind of slow it down a little bit. But then also in the spawner, I need to kind of match the force of the rocket so that the pieces come out with some momentum.
Nice. So
But
yeah,
that's
I think it actually like we don't want we don't I don't think we should have this too long, but we wanted to come on and give you a little insight about how we've done it and stuff. So I hope this gives you a bit of an idea. From my side of things, I think it's worked out kind of the way we've divvied up the tasks. With Shogun concentrating on the showpiece at the end there, because it all revolves, it all works towards that, and that having time spent on that, I think, is actually a really good use of time. Even though, as always, everything takes twice or 3 times as long as what you'd expect it to take. That's the nature of game development. Full stop. Oh yeah, it'll take me a day. He said 4 days ago. That is really normal. So yeah, you should expect that. But I think it's worked out really well for. I mean, we've obviously haven't properly done anything like this together before either, which is it's like a new sort of team. Apart from me and Yop, of course, working on the majority of Mafia City, this has been a really good experience for me. Even though, yeah, those days have
Yeah.
they've stretched on, but it's good fun. What do you think, Yop?
Yeah, it's good. And also, I tried to use as many like new features as possible that we have in the editor. Kind of challenge myself on like that with that as well. So we recently got the data structures and stuff like that. So learning to use those together with trying to figure out what would be the best way to build stuff, even though we are on a time limit. So you need to do some quick hacks here and there.
Sure.
That makes the
Yeah, but
logic a bit
that's
wonky, but
you raise a really good point there, because it is a good opportunity to try something new. It's like you've seen that node, and it's like, oh, I'm going to use that one day. Oh, maybe a jam is a good excuse to try and experiment if it fits around your concept, right?
and
And of course,
things work together. Like the elevator system, for example, there is a thing that you can change the elevator room number, and it will change actually the order of how they appear on the list. And that's
okay.
using the new widget input that was added in the UI editor, for example. So
Nice.
there's all kinds of like things trying to work together, and figuring out how to get them work together is kind of I like that.
Yeah, no, that's good, because often it's like you need an excuse to try and force yourself to break out of your normal habits if you want to try these new things, and it's very easy to default back. Oh, I've always done it this way, so I'm just going to do that. But again, a game jam is a good excuse to break out and try something new. All right, I think we should wrap it up, guys. What do you think? Any last closing comments from either of you? Anything you want to add or talk about?
I just find it really amusing. You can see here, these are the parts where Yuso's been working. Super clean. There's like nothing floating around. And then you can see immediately where John starts working, and there's just logic everywhere, just spewed into the game world. Yeah. We have slightly different styles.
And that's just fine. Yeah, my OCD would get the better of me on that. I'd be lining up. I'd spend more time lining up the containers rather than actually doing anything, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I do try and keep my stuff more tidy than this, but like the like trying to work fast part, that's one of the first things that goes out for me, is just like, I'll worry about making this logic look nice later. For now, I just need to get it working.
But that I think
to the top left, you can see my logic from there. One thing I want to add is also that when I make logic, if I notice myself that I need to make the same thing multiple times, I try to make it logic so that I can just use the same logic multiple times.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I think just to end this off, it's okay to be messy. It's okay to be scrappy. You got to do you, whatever works for you, and then especially in a situation like this, done is better than perfect every single time.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's going to go and wrap it up from us today. Thanks for joining with us, and yeah, do hit the like and all that stuff, and we will see you on another video. All right, see ya. Bye bye,
guys.